Hello, 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 hello. Hey, this is Warren Redlick. Thank you so much for watching. We've got our good friend Bernie. He's going to sit through the this live stream with us. We'll see how Bernie holds up. It's going to be rough on him. Um, we're going to talk about the proxy statement, the shareholder vote. That's the primary thing we're going to talk about in this live stream. And then we're also going to talk about some optimistic news from Tesla about Europe, which I was a little surprised by. And just really quick, I just checked before I went live. The stock is at $437 a share, up about 2/3%. I'm going to talk a little bit about the stock price and later in the video. So let's dive into the vote. First of all, I voted. I voted twice. I've always said that I was raised as a Democrat. I was a member of my town's Democratic committee and my county Democratic committee back in New York. And, the key message the Democratic Party has for people is vote early and vote often. So I voted early and I voted often. I voted twice. You don't want to only vote once if you're a Democrat. You want to vote at least 2 or 3 times. I'm sorry if I'm picking on the Democrats. Don't worry, I'll get to the Republicans at some point. Anyway, there's a proxy statement, which I would encourage people to look at. It's very detailed. For me, I read a fair amount of it. I didn't read all of it. I didn't read it super careful. I'm not claiming to be the expert on the Tesla shareholder vote to tell you how you should vote. I'm going to talk about how I voted. And I'm going to present to you how Tesla Boomer Mama recommends that you vote. And I would say she's put more thought into it than I have. There's one particular topic where I think we disagree. And we're going to get into that more because I told her I disagreed, and she friendly with her, and some people responded, one not so friendly, and I wanted to cover that with you. That's xAI. How should you vote on xAI? So this is the board's recommendations, basically. So it's really the first 3 votes is the directors. So it's like, I think it's Ira, Aaron Price, and I actually don't remember the other 2 off the top of my head, who are up for votes. But the board recommends voting for each one of them. I voted for each one of them. I didn't put a lot of thought into it. I'm familiar with all the directors. I don't remember which ones are up for re-election this time, other than for some reason Ira sticks in my head. Well, MAGA Mike, it's whatever the board recommends. There are some where the board doesn't make a recommendation. That's why we're going to have this conversation a little bit in more depth. But so voting for the company nominees, I think that's pretty straightforward. I've been very happy with the Tesla board. There are people who are not happy with the Tesla board. If you're not happy with the company's board, and they're not happy with the company's board because the company's board isn't controlling Elon, the CEO, if you're not happy with the company's board and you're not happy with the CEO, why are you invested in this company? That's something I don't understand. If you don't like the company and you don't like the way the board is acting, then why would you invest in a company that you don't believe in the CEO and you don't believe in the board? Go invest in a company where you do believe in the CEO and you do believe in the board. So anyway, vote proposal 2 is a non-binding advisory vote approving 2024 executive compensation. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that is a decision that the board made to give Elon X number of shares to compensate him in part for what he hasn't gotten because of the Delaware case yet. Again, I'm not fresh on these because I don't think these are that important. They're just all yes votes, and it's very straightforward. An equity incentive plan. And then number 4, I believe, is the one for Elon's future compensation package. That's the big one. That's the one Bernie's been complaining about. That's why Bernie's here. Bernie's been complaining about Elon becoming a trillionaire. I personally am very excited at the prospect of Elon becoming a trillionaire, because if Elon becomes a trillionaire on Tesla stock going to, Tesla's market cap going to $8.5 trillion, and I own a lot of Tesla stock. So I'm going to talk, I sold a tiny bit of options, which I'll talk about later in the video, but I own a lot of Tesla stock. So if Elon's going to 7.5x my stock, I'm okay with him getting paid. There's a whole bunch of things wrong with the way Bernie's made a bunch of comments. At first he said, well, this compensation package would make Elon a trillionaire. No, it won't make Elon a trillionaire. If Tesla's market cap goes to $8.5 trillion and Elon already owns 15% of the company, then Elon will have more than $1 trillion in Tesla stock before he gets a penny of shareholder of this compensation, of stock from this compensation. Not to mention that Elon is a roughly 50% owner of SpaceX, which is, I think, approaching a $400 billion valuation right now. And by the time we get to the 8.5 trillion, SpaceX will probably be a multi-trillion dollar company, and Elon will have another half trillion to $1 trillion from SpaceX. And then Neuralink is going to blow up, and Elon's going to be like worth 3, 4, or 5 trillion, who knows? Which is going to fund Mars, which is really cool, and it's going to fund a lot of other cool stuff. I'm sure Lost Gerbil and Barry. You know what's funny? I actually haven't seen Lost Gerbil. Lost Gerbil, for those who don't know, is Ross Gerber, and Barry Glack is Gary Black. Nicknames I've popularized for them. Lost Gerbil I came up with. Barry Glack is my friend Lincoln created it, and I popularized it. So I'm sure that the Elon haters are saying, don't give Elon all this money. If Elon, like, I'm just saying to you, if you're a shareholder, if Elon leads the company to 7.5x the market cap, or maybe from today 7x the market cap, and it doesn't stop there, like it can keep going up after that. But if he 7x's the value of your stock, are you okay with him getting compensated? It's 8.5x the market cap, but it's diluted by Elon's stake. So if he 8.5x's it, we get 7.5x. I'm okay with that. Yeah, and I think the stock it doesn't just go to 8.5 trillion. If Robotaxi happens, if Optimus happens, if these things happen, I mean, Robotaxi is already happening, but if Robotaxi goes the way we think it's going to go, if Optimus goes the way we think it's going to go, Elon has said this, Tesla will be a 20, 30 trillion dollar company. And I will probably buy a yacht. I live near the ocean. I probably will have a nice yacht. I don't know if I'm going to be jet ready, but I think it might be small yacht. I don't intend to waste money on a crazy big yacht, but a decent yacht. Elon, go Elon. And not to mention, I have some serious things I want to do to build a pod car company. I have a whole big idea to help single mothers in Thailand. I got a lot of things that I want to do with the money that I expect I will have in the next 3 to 5 years. So go Elon. And sorry, Bernie. I'm very, very sorry for Bernie. Mittens. I like to call him Mittens. Okay, so then Proposal 5, these are the first ones where the board recommends voting for all of these. Proposal 5 is a proposal for the ratification of the appointment of PricewaterhouseCoopers as the independent public accounting firm. This is a routine thing. I don't know who would vote no on that. Like, who else do you want? Like, that's who the board is comfortable working with. It's fine. Proposal 6, something about supermajority voting. I honestly didn't pay attention. The board said none. I voted against. I think Alexandra, Tesla Boomer Mommer, said against. I'm going to show you her proposals in a second. The other ones at the bottom are against. I'm going to say vote against whatever the board says to vote against. And then number 7, which might be number 9 when you vote, because the director votes are actually 3 votes. But number 7 is about investing in xAI, which is something we're going to talk about a bit more. And I think people are already talking about it in the chat. Get Your Bone says, why invested in a company I don't believe in? Because the cost basis is so low. 96% is taxable gains. Don't feel like giving the government money. Well, I would say while Trump is president, you might want to take advantage of your capital gains while he's president. I mean, you're going to have to pay, unless you're planning on dying and passing your stock down to your children, you're going to have to pay capital gains tax at some point. And if you wait long enough, there'll be Democrats in government and capital gains taxes might go up. Matthew says, Noise, can my Thai wife and I visit you on your yacht? I'm sure we'll have room for 2 other people. Yeah. And if you are going to be in Thailand, just something a lot of people don't be afraid to reach out to me on, especially DM on X. If you are a verified user on the X platform, if you're a Patreon supporter, if you're a supporter on one of the other platforms, send me a DM and say, hey, Warren, I'm going to be in Thailand. Can we meet up? And I'm usually in Krabi, Thailand, Krabi, but we do travel to Bangkok occasionally and other places. And I've met a bunch of people for coffee. And yeah, if we have the yacht, sure. I don't know how much time I'll be spending on the yacht, but we can go out. Krabi has some amazing. The reason I want to get the yacht is because amazingly beautiful waters. These mountains just sort of sticking up out of the ocean. It's stunning. We were just looking at this yesterday. We went to lunch yesterday at this absolutely beautiful spot, 30-minute drive from here. Insane, but that would be so much more beautiful from a boat. So I'm tempted. So let me just give you Alexandra's recommendations before I go into my tirade about my rant about xAI. So the key distinction, she says to vote for Pricewaterhouse's accounting firm, against eliminating supermajority voting requirements, and for authorization to invest in xAI. And then again, so the only one we really disagree on is I abstained on xAI. I lean against xAI, but I just abstained rather than voting against. And a lot of people want to vote in xAI. So Coral Heat says I would say road trip, but boat trip from Florida. I think a boat trip from Florida would be very, very hard to get to Thailand. I can't say I recommend that. So I just wanted to share this with you. If you don't follow her, I would suggest you follow Tesla Boomer Mama on X. There was a question earlier about a European wanting to vote and being unable to vote. Tesla Boomer Mama is the best one at helping people figure out how to vote their shares if they have if they're having trouble voting. I know Tesla is working on trying to give more people access to vote. And I know she has been successful sometimes in getting some European, whatever the entities are, that are brokerages or whatever, to enable shareholders to vote. So I only got, the email from Fidelity, like, I don't know. I voted as soon as I got it, but it was like less than 24 hours ago that I got the email. So the emails are going out to different people at different times. I'm not sure what's going on there. But anyway, on the xAI thing, what I said to Boomer Mama, to Alexandra, was, I'm mostly following your recommendations, but I'm abstaining on xAI. My gut says to vote against because I think Tesla's cash should be invested in Tesla's business. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But I just decided to abstain rather than vote against. And part of the issue that I want to talk about is I'm not going to read you the proposal, but I read the proposal and it's like authorizing the board to consider investing in xAI. What is this? This is like, first of all, they don't need us to authorize them to consider investing in xAI. If they want to invest in xAI, they can invest in xAI. They don't need us to do that. I don't know what value we're adding by saying, hey, we think you should consider voting in xAI. It doesn't say you have to. We demand that Tesla invest in xAI. It doesn't give a number. We demand that Tesla invest $5 billion in xAI. Like, well, what does this exactly do? I don't, on the money, like, does it force the Tesla board to invest in xAI? It's just sort of like, hey, we'd like you to consider. So what? Like the board, like they're not, like, do you think the board doesn't do their job? Do you think they're not aware of this? Is there an opportunity? FYI, Electrified gave you credit for the first to post about fake media posts. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, my previous live stream, I was very critical of Sawyer Merritt and Farzad, both of whom have deleted their posts. There was a fake news story about Tesla, and right now I don't even remember what it was about. Oh, it was about the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration, NHTSA, adopting some new rules that were positive for Tesla, and it just was flat out not true. Some website called Not a Tesla App, which is an X account also, published a story which was just flat out not true. Just like zero truth. You can manufacture, well, what they were referring to was something 3 weeks ago where the NHTSA proposed these rules about windshield wipers. Literally, it was about windshield wipers. Okay? It was not about evaluating self-driving based on performance instead of on equipment. So anyway, I did a video about that, and I thought the controversy would have gotten more views, but whatever. I was really upset about. I really think that if you are an influencer and you have nearly 1 million followers, as Sawyer does, you got to fact check. You can't just post some story that has one source that doesn't cite its sources. But anyway, that's going too deep. I don't need to beat that horse. Jose Bellarmino asks, can you explain the xAI vote? If it passes, is it still incumbent on the board to get a good deal, i.e. buy or not buy the xAI shares? Yeah, that's kind of the point. Like, I mean, there's a whole bunch there. If it passes, the board can say, okay, we'll consider it, and then they decide not to. It doesn't compel them to invest in xAI. Do they invest $1 million in xAI? Do they invest $1 billion in xAI? Do they invest $10 billion in xAI? I don't know. I don't understand, like, what it's an empty proposal. It doesn't really say anything. Maybe they just want to know how much support there is for xAI. Why would they care? Is it a good business decision or not? What difference does it make how many shareholders say yes? It's either a good decision and if the shareholders vote no, they can still invest in xAI. If they think there's a good opportunity to invest in xAI, they can. I think the primary reason I abstained was because Elon said he liked the idea. It doesn't mean he thought we needed a shareholder vote. I think he did say something about a shareholder vote, but to me, this isn't like the shareholder vote should be, hey, we want you to invest in xAI. It should be stronger worded and it should give a ballpark dollar amount. We want you to invest 5 billion. We want to invest 1 billion. But I want to be clear. My point, I want Tesla cash invested in Tesla's businesses. I want it invested in building vehicles like cybercabs, Tesla Semi. I want it invested in building Megapacks. I want it invested in building Optimus. I want it invested in Tesla deploying, buying NVIDIA chips or Tesla AI5 and AI6 chips and building AI data centers to improve FSD and to improve Tesla real world AI, to build out inference clusters, to provide AI data services and AI inference services to, cloud AI inference services. There's a lot of things for Tesla to do as a company that I think that this isn't just Tesla. I think any company should invest in its own business unless it has so much money that it has to do something else with its money. Tesla doesn't have that much money. Mark says, so we keep control of xAI. Elon has control of xAI. You don't have control of xAI. I don't have control of Tesla. I don't have control of any of Elon's companies. Elon has control of his companies. And Elon has he has more control over xAI than he has over Tesla. You want Tesla to get control over xAI and then some outside shareholders get control of Tesla and now Elon loses control of Tesla and xAI? Yes, Phil C. I want Tesla to invest in huge solar farms too. I want them to buy land. I want them to buy. I want Tesla to buy a utility company. I think Tesla could buy. It's called AE. Did I make a video about this? I think Tesla could buy a utility company. I probably should make a video about this. A utility company to get around. Utility companies interfere with the deployment of solar. Investing in a utility company could help get around that. Anyway, so I posted that I was abstaining, and Snot number 1, I'm a Grim, said clearly, I do not see the benefit of xAI investment. Grok and Tesla and Optimus is an initial step. xAI will eventually be wrapped into Tesla ecosystem as the brain for all products. We either invest, get first dibs on licensing the brain, or others will. Okay, so there's so much wrong here. So first of all, Grok is already in Tesla cars. Grok is already slated to be in Optimus. So the investment has nothing to do with that. xAI is not going to be the brain for Tesla products. Tesla products already have a brain. It's Tesla Real World AI. It's FSD in the cars. It's Tesla Real World AI and Optimus, built off of FSD. Tesla is building massive compute clusters. Tesla's developing inference hardware like the AI5 chip and the AI6 chip, which are the brain. The AI5 and AI6 chip and Tesla's Real World AI are the brains of the cars and Optimus. Will Grok be useful in some way? Yeah, probably. Is Grok going to be in control of Tesla's products? No. And so what? Like we have Grok without any investment. Investing in the company has nothing to do with dibs on licensing. What does that mean? Like if I get a VC, if I get through an investment in xAI through a VC, can I get first dibs on licensing the xAI products? Like, do I get dibs on Tesla cars because I own a lot of Tesla stock? Do I get dibs on buying Tesla cars? What would SMR do? I don't know what Steven's most of the Tesla influencers are saying they want to vote yes. Because what people want is access to investment in other Elon's companies. Look, I would like to invest in SpaceX. I would like to invest in Boring Company. I would like to invest in Neuralink, and I would like to invest in xAI. But I believe those investments should be separate. And unfortunately, under American law, it's difficult for people to invest in privately held companies like that. I am wealthy enough that I qualified to invest in such companies, but the minimum investment is typically high, and the investments are typically illiquid, not liquid. If I want to sell my Tesla stock, I go on the market right now. and I sell Tesla stock, and I say market order, it'll sell for $434 a share right now in less than a minute. But if I have stock in xAI as a private investor through a VC or something like that, you have to hold it. Typically, have to hold that for years. So it's a difficult thing to invest in. And you can invest in. Ron Barron has a fund that invests in some of Elon's companies. I think ARK Invest has a fund that invests in some of Elon's privately held companies. It's something you can do. But the idea that Tesla with, I think we're going to hit a point where Tesla's cash starts growing fast as robotaxi scales. And I think it's like middle of next year, where they start putting out a lot of robotaxis, generating a lot of revenue, and then the money spinner starts going. And unfortunately, that's later than you might want if you want Tesla to get in early on xAI. That's the reality. And the other thing is, like xAI, if you're like a fan of xAI doesn't need Tesla's money. There's no shortage of VCs and other rich people who want to invest in Elon companies. I wanted to get in. There was Neuralink had a funding round. I didn't even get it. Like sometimes I get an email with like an opportunity. I didn't even hear anything. Nothing. Zip. I have a friend who's like super wired into Neuralink, and he didn't hear anything. Like it was like only a very small group got in on that. Boring Company. I would love to get in around for Boring Company. I haven't seen an opportunity. I did see an opportunity to invest in Boring. The other challenge is if you don't get in, whenever you do these kind of investments, there's like a X% commission to the people managing the fund, and then there's like a 2% management fee, and then the X% is if you're buying in after they've had the funding round. But there might be a commission to buy in, 6%, then 2% a year you're paying for management fees, and then at the end they take 20% of your profits. I could just buy Tesla, and I can invest in Tesla's businesses, which I see going up 10, 20, 30x, maybe 100x. What do I need to invest in some other company for? I don't need Tesla to invest in some other company. I want Tesla to invest in the stuff that's going to grow Tesla stock based on what Tesla does. Thank you, Boomer45. Okay, so anyway, clearly, I do not see the benefit of xAI investment. I just explained my thinking, and he said, okay, clearly, again, clearly is apparently a very strong word that means I can't really explain my argument, but it's clear. Clearly, one of us has experience in technology, tech startups, and large technology company transactions. And my response to this one was not as polite as I've been so far. And I did not, unfortunately, include that. But I said, one of us is a lawyer, and I used a Latin phrase, the initials of which are GFY. What I'm saying is very straightforward. Elon is the CEO of xAI. Elon is the CEO of Tesla. If Tesla wants access to Grok, it doesn't need an investment to get it. Elon's the CEO of both companies. Elon's companies cooperate with each other. There's no problem here. This gets us nothing. What it is people who are invested in Tesla and really excited about Elon stuff want Tesla to invest their money so they can get access to one of Elon's other startups. It's not helping xAI. It's not helping Tesla. It's not bad. I'm not saying it's terrible. I don't think it's an awful thing. If Tesla put $500 million or $1 billion in xAI, would it be a huge problem? No. But I want that cash going where it should go, and that's not where it should go. Paul Wu says there's really no need to get into xAI. Tesla better focus on Optimus. Competition is heating up in the robotics space, and Optimus is falling behind. I don't agree with that. I mean, there's some hints of competition in the robotics space. Optimus is nowhere near falling behind. The fact that some companies are able to put up demos of robots doing cool stuff that isn't useful, or demos of robots appearing to do cool stuff that are demo videos that you have no idea how many times it failed before they published it, no, I don't think so. There were some other responses. So Snot2, I'm being mean when I say Ryan was snot, because Ryan wasn't really snotty. He said he was polite. He said, huge difference between AI, which does vector. So this was in response to my attitude. I don't think that Grok will be the brain of Tesla products. I believe that Tesla's real world AI will be the brain of Tesla's products, and they may incorporate Grok to, like, just like, right now, if you're driving your Tesla and you're in the United States, you might have Grok in your car and you can have a conversation with Grok. But Grok doesn't tell the car what to do. And the idea of integrating Grok to the point where you speak to Grok and then Grok controls the car, I'm not saying it won't happen. I don't think it's likely to happen. I don't. And I think the idea, then we'll talk about this in a second. He says, huge difference between AI, which does vector analysis, path planning, and AI that can interact with humans via language. has fundamental understanding and knowledge of the world physics, and can troubleshoot complex scenarios. FSD will pair the visualization and movement planning aspects of, but xAI will power the brain, which makes decisions and interacts with the world around it. No. And he says, example, if I ask my Model 3 to fold laundry, it has no concept of that. This is just flat out wrong. Tesla is developing real-world AI. Grok is developing AI in a box. Okay, it's multimodal AI. It's a large language model that can, it may develop an understanding of the world, but it does not experience the real world the same way the Tesla products do. These, large language models are not going to be competitive at controlling robots and machines in the real world. They're not, because they don't have Tesla's got 8 million cars out there now collecting data. They've got data centers that are training specifically on operating in the real world. And what he misses, okay, he says, FSD will power visualization and movement planning aspects, but xAI will power the brain, which makes decisions and interacts with the world around it. No. Tesla's real-world AI makes millisecond decisions. If you've used Grok, if you used any of these large language models, they don't make decisions. Like, if there's an object falling and I need to catch it, I don't have time to query an LLM, an AI, an external AI to figure out what I should do about that thing falling. I got to catch it. You don't have time to fool around. Tesla is developing real-world AI, which makes decisions in milliseconds. These other AIs don't make decisions that fast. Even if it's local, even if because he in another post that's not here, he mentioned, it'll ultimately be on the chip. It'll be on board the bot. Maybe. But this is massively underestimating how Tesla's real-world AI is going to develop understanding the real world better than Grok, better than OpenAI, ChatGPT, better than Gemini. Tesla's AI will understand the real world because it interacts with the real world. It generates massive amounts of data and it trains on that data to understand the real world. FSD does visualization and movement planning and navigation and reactive decisions. Optimus is going to have to manipulate objects. You do not want latency in manipulating objects. You don't. Optimus will develop an understanding of what's going on in the real world when it needs to manipulate objects. A large language model or multimodal model or whatever we're calling them, they're not going to be better understanding the real world than software that's developed by experiencing the real world. Thump says, I agree with your statement. The board can buy xAI anyway, but I think maybe they want to avoid a shit show like what happened to Maryland. Well, I think it was Delaware. I think that if the board decides to invest in xAI, you're going to have another shareholder vote on that decision. Like, this doesn't fully authorize them to do it. They're going to need another shareholder vote to approve it because there's a conflict of interest because Elon owns both companies. Elon is the CEO of Tesla and he's the CEO of xAI. I think he's the CEO. Maybe he's not the CEO of xAI. But Elon is, the majority shareholder, whatever. He's conflicted. So the board would probably have to come back to us with a shareholder vote after they decide to invest in xAI. It's just not practical. Bernie doesn't look like he agrees. Yeah, Bernie doesn't agree with anything. I agree with you on that. Is there a risk xAI could have a down investment round? There's always risks of things like that, but I don't think that's likely. Have you ever seen Bernie when he wasn't angry? Not really. As Tesla shareholders, we need shares in xAI. Eventually, xAI will become ASI. Well, maybe eventually Tesla's real-world AI will become artificial superintelligence. Maybe there will be more than one artificial superintelligence, and Elon will control two of them. And maybe there will be more. I think Google is going to crack artificial superintelligence too. Gemini. Maybe ChatGPT will. Maybe Meta will. I don't know. I don't think Meta's on the right path. We'll see. Yes. Hi Tesla Boomer Bomber. Thank you for joining. Grok is also like talking to many humans and gets stuff wrong also. Grok gets stuff wrong. I asked Grok Imagine to generate an image. I use a strap on my forearm. I use a strap on my forearm to check my heart rate. And I had this idea, what if you made like a smartwatch, but it was on the forearm? And I asked Grok to generate an image of that. It was terrible. It was like, it did a wristwatch. It did like the LED on the wrong side and a wristwatch. Like, it was like, no. Right? Because also like talking to many humans and get stuff wrong. Sorry, Delaware, good point. Matthias Tasser, thank you so much for your support. Tesla's comparative advantage for FSD cars is real-world data. What's their advantage with bot data wise? Can everyone use synthetic YouTube data for training? Tesla's advantage for bot data wise is that they will manufacture bots at scale before anyone else. The bots will go out and experience in the real world. The bots get a head start because they have FSD's experience in navigating space and understanding the real world to an extent. There's a video recently that Ashok commented on where somebody, I forget who it was driving through a toll booth. And the car stopped for the toll booth. And after the payment was made, it started moving again without the driver having to tell it to move because it saw that the transaction was complete. How did it understand that? Because Tesla's FSD is developing an understanding of the real world. We're going to go to AI5 hardware. We're going to get more and more data. Optimus is going to start experiencing the real world in different ways. Diverse data, more compute in the words of Andrej Karpathy. That's how. I don't think synthetic and YouTube data is sufficient for experiencing the real world in full. And I think synthetic. I don't understand the synthetic data concept, and I don't know how well it applies in real world AI. I know it's been used in so-called large language models or multimodal models, and we still have the aviation industry for Tesla to disrupt. I think Boring Company disrupts the aviation industry, but that's a whole nother conversation. Tesla Boomer Mommer, you have a fan in the chat. Steel Curtain says, big fan. So Grok is more research and development, and FSD is real-time, real world. I think Grok is something that has to take time to respond. I'm not saying Grok won't get quicker. Grok Fast is quicker than regular Grok, but I think, it depends on the query, depends on the prompt. But I don't think Grok is responding at anywhere near the response, the latency that FSD responds. Do you think it will take version 14 before we get robo-taxis without safety drivers? I'm not sure. I'm not sure we really need safety drivers now. I think Tesla's being extra careful. If SpaceX invests in xAI, is Tesla's investment even necessary? SpaceX is not investing in xAI. Has SpaceX investment in xAI been confirmed? I don't think SpaceX is investing in xAI. I haven't heard that. I don't know if it's been confirmed. SpaceX has to invest in its businesses. It has to invest in Starship. And I think there may be investments where it's like stock, but I guess eventually there will only be one company. All Elon's company will be merged. There was a theory that Elon was going to develop like an X holding company that would own everything, but I'm not saying that can happen, but it doesn't seem likely to me. Hyundai's developing Boston Dynamic robots in its Georgia plants. Look, there's lots of people who are developing humanoid robots, but it's the intelligence that matters. It's the real world AI that nobody else is developing. The idea that this guy's named Brett Fraudcock, who's got lots of experience doing startup companies and raising capital, but no experience in delivering a product or service to a customer, is somehow going to learn how to manufacture robots at scale and develop AI at scale, real world AI at scale. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it doesn't seem likely that Fraudcock's going to. I'm sorry, Adcock. I might have called him Fraudcock by mistake. Maybe Fraudcock, Adcock will do that. I don't know. I think it's very unlikely that guy's going to do it. Hyundai, they've had Boston Dynamic robots for how long? Where's the AI? There's some Chinese company that's got a demo video of their robot getting knocked around and, getting back up. Okay, how useful is that? Good morning from Belize. Christopher, hello. Good to see you. Okay, so then there was 3 more snots. Again, these guys aren't really snots. I just took the word snots for the first guy. Dwayne says they might not need cash. It could be a share swap. Oh, xAI needs cash, baby. They want to build a 1 gigawatt data center. They're going to need cash. They want to go to a 10 gigawatt data center. They're going to need cash. Elon said we're going to be first to 1 gigawatt. We're going to be first to 10 gigawatts. We're going to be first to 100 gigawatts. He just said that. xAI is going to grow super fast, and they're going to need cash. And I don't think Tesla has enough cash for what they're going to need. They're going to be raising a ton of cash, but they're not raising yet. The other John Smith says, voting to support the xAI proposal just gives the board a shareholder-approved option to explore if it makes sense. I'm okay with that. I don't know if it makes sense, but I trust the board to make the right call. They don't need us to explore it. They don't need a shareholder vote to explore it. And if they decide to make the investment, I think they still need it. This is a question. If Tesla Boomer Mama is still in the chat, if Tesla decides to invest in xAI, do they need another shareholder vote to approve the investment? I don't know the answer to that question. I think the answer is yes. I think because of the conflict, having this shareholder vote is not sufficient to insulate Tesla from the argument that there's a conflict, because Elon is a large owner and executive on xAI, and he's the CEO of Tesla. I don't know that it's appropriate. I think the lawsuits would fly fast and thick. Um, how do we know these other companies are not developing AI alongside their robot offerings? They're probably trying to develop AI, but you need large amounts of machines experiencing the real world, generating data, and you need large amounts of compute clusters. Hyundai doesn't have compute clusters. The Chinese companies can't get NVIDIA chips, or they're very limited in their ability to get chips. So they don't have it. It's not easy. Hello, Mark. Mark and Mark, thank you guys both for being here. Harmon Kang says the reason I will likely vote for xAI is because OpenAI needs to be defeated. Otherwise, 100% investment into Tesla real world AI is so much better for humanity. I think that xAI does not need Tesla's money. xAI has no shortage of investors who want to invest in that company. There's no. If Elon decides to do a funding round, poof, he has money. He's like magic at raising funds. Srini says Warren Grok understands real world physics. Does it? Does it? Does it understand real world physics better than Tesla FSD? What do you mean by it understands real world physics? Can it make real world physics decisions in milliseconds, or does it just understand how to answer questions about real world physics? Because FSD, I'll agree with you. If I talked to my Tesla right now and I said, "Hey, how does quantum physics work, or how does ballistic physics work?" My car's not going to answer me, right? Grok is programmed to listen to your prompt, listen to what you ask it, read your prompt, whatever, go run an inference operation, and maybe do some searching, and then come back and answer your question. But that might take 5, 10, 15 seconds. If I need to make a real world physics decision in real time, then Grok is not the answer to that question. The Solar City deal got a lot of flack. It's exactly like the Solar City deal. Tesla Boomer Mama says, see my answer 7 lines up. Let's see what she said. I missed it. What? He can vote on it where in Texas. Is that the one? I'm not seeing that. See my answers 7 lines up. Sorry for looking goofy and I mean, Elon may be able to vote. This is just my question. My question is, if Tesla's board says, "Hey, we decided we want to invest in xAI," can they do it without a shareholder vote? I don't know that you answered that question. Elon might be able to vote on it, on that vote, but do they need a shareholder vote? Can they go ahead without a shareholder vote? If they do it without a shareholder vote, will there be lawsuits? Will we win? I don't know the answer to that. So you can see I just ate an apple and I got an orange waiting for me. Matthias says, is it just me or does Grok voice mode often have troubles with recognizing my voice when I start a conversation? Also, it's very bad with spelling out numbers, dates, and so on, like really bad. I don't use Grok voice mode, so I don't know. I don't know why I'm not seeing your answer, Alexandra. I don't know. I'm not seeing it. I don't know why I'm not seeing it, but I'm not seeing it. You say 7 lines up. It's not there. That's weird. YouTube is no fun. 7:33. I don't know. It's not showing up on my on what I'm looking at, so I'm sorry about that. All right, I'm gonna move on. The horse is dead. I just wanted to mention the stock is up. I think let's check with the stock. We'll do a stock check. Oh, it's down. We're down to 433. Oh no. So yesterday I woke up. No, so I think it was nighttime here. The market opened early, and this was something I posted yesterday. Yesterday. Probably about 24 hours ago, that the stock market opened up, or Tesla opened up, and it was up around $440 a share. I owned at the time, and I just sold it, 5 call options with a strike price of $550. The strike expires on December 19th, 2025. That's in a brokerage account. I made a decision a while ago that I wanted my call options in my Roth IRA because I think those are likely to go up a lot more than the stock. and the Roth IRA is tax-free. So I want my high gain investments, the highest gain investments in my Roth IRA. And I still had this legacy option in my brokerage account, which I decided I wanted to get rid of at some point, and I was just sort of sitting on it for a while. And I saw the stock was up, and I saw that it was finally in the green after a long time being in the red. And I said, okay, um, I'm gonna sell it now. And I took like a $700 capital gain in my brokerage account. Turned out my timing was really good because the stock went down later. And I don't think the stock has gotten back up to 440 yet. So I just lucked out. I'm not claiming I'm brilliant. I just sort of like looked at it, said, okay, it's time, did it. And maybe the stock will go up to $500 soon and I'll feel bad. But anyway, I just wanted to, I like to keep people disclosed. If I make a stock purchase, I like to say it. I'm very big on saying I try not to sell Tesla stock. I sell when I need it. I will have some cash needs in the near future. So another $11,000 is helpful. And I think I have capital loss to offset. So the capital gain is not really going to be taxed. So it's only a $700 capital gain. So just wanted to disclose that. And then just optimistic news. What did I do with it? There's a post from, what did I do? There was a post from, oh, is this it? Yeah. Let me address this. So Tesla is apparently announced, and maybe it was Lars Moravi. I didn't see the Lars saying it, but Tesla is going to develop a Tesla engineering center in Berlin. Something they talked about in 2019 when they announced the factory, but then nothing ever happened with it. And so this is from FJ, who I believe works for Tesla in Berlin. He says, I think he's, some mid-level or high-level management employee in Berlin. Says, we're thrilled to announce our new Tesla Engineering Center in Berlin-Koepenick, Germany. This state-of-the-art facility will be a powerhouse for innovation, accelerating our research and development to push the boundaries of electric vehicles and sustainable energy. You can see Bernie's really burning. How dare they invest in Berlin? Push the boundaries of electric vehicles and sustainable energy. Berlin Koepenick Center will bring together top engineering talent to design cutting-edge technologies, create hundreds of local jobs, strengthen our commitment to a zero-emission future. From advanced battery systems to next-gen autonomous driving, this hub will play a key role in shaping the future of mobility. Proud to deepen our roots in Germany. So I think this is a little bit, there's some really good talent in Germany that maybe they thought they could finally tap and get some really high-quality engineering talent to develop things. It may be that there's a sense that there's certain kinds of vehicles that are more appropriate for Europe than they are for the US. So you kind of wonder, why don't they just do all their design engineering in the US where they have lots of engineers? Well, it may be hard to get German engineers to the US, and I believe they have an engineering center in China as well. There's a lot of talent, and I think it's a good way of attracting good talent and putting them to work. And, we'll see. So advanced battery systems, I didn't expect that Germany would be doing battery systems design, but we'll see. Push the boundaries of electric vehicles and sustainable energy. So we'll see what they put. It's hard to know what engineering advances Tesla makes that come from Germany, come from China, come from the US. It looks like the Model YL is probably a Chinese development because we haven't seen it anywhere in any of the other factories. I think it fits the Chinese market better than what we're doing in the US. Tesla Boomer Mama says this proposal, we're going back to the xAI thing because that's the popular thing in the chat. Let me pop this back up. Tesla Boomer Mama says this proposal is to cover the board's asses. I don't think this sufficiently covers the board's asses. And I'm not saying I'm right and you're wrong. My gut feel is this does not sufficiently cover the board's asses, and we would need a second shareholder vote. So the first shareholder vote's unnecessary. Srini said, Elon said first gigawatts AI data center. He said just starting, so we don't want to miss. I don't think that, I'll say it like, I think xAI, what xAI is doing is great. I'm excited about it. I think that Tesla's cash should be invested in Tesla's businesses, not other businesses. When Tesla's spinning cash like crazy from Robotaxi and Optimus, and they're generating $100 billion in cash a year, then sure, Tesla can invest in other businesses. But right now, Tesla's cash needs to go into building engineering centers, building AI data centers for real world AI, building cybercab factories, building Optimus factories, building megapack factories. That's where I want to see the cash going. I don't want to see it going in other companies. But I abstained rather than voting against out of respect for Tesla Boomer Bomber and for Elon, because Elon sort of, I think, kind of said he liked the idea. Let's see. German car makers are not happy about BEV targets. Sure, because they suck at making battery electric vehicles. Tesla sales in Germany have tanked relative to the rest of Europe. So I thought this is one of the things that was surprised me. Why is Tesla investing in Germany when it seems like Giga Berlin has not been as nearly as productive, and because they announced Giga Berlin and Giga Shanghai at the same time, and I think Shanghai makes about 4 times as many vehicles. And now we got a Tesla Megapack factory in China, but we don't have a Tesla Megapack factory in Germany. Like, they haven't built out operations in Europe nearly as much as they built out operations in China. I expected more out of. I thought Tesla Berlin would be making twice as many cars as they're making. They don't even make model. They only make Model Y. They don't make Model 3s. Just very disappointing. Tesla sales in Germany tank. Germany gatekeeping FSD from happening. Yeah, I think the European countries are slow on FSD and other things. Mark says everybody's working on batteries. I don't think that's true. When cash gets too large, dividends or buybacks. I'm really looking forward to the problem of when Tesla has too much cash. I don't worry about that problem. I think Elon will figure out what to do with it. I think, maybe Tesla invests in SpaceX to fund Mars. Are you guys okay with that? Are you guys okay with Tesla investing in SpaceX to fund Mars when it's time to fund sending 1,000 starships to Mars? I mean, I think Elon's just going to write the check himself out of his own pocket, but we'll see. What country in the EU would be more friendly for Tesla to build out in? I think Eastern Europe might be more friendly. Poland, Hungary. I'm not sure. I don't know Europe as well as I'd like to. My wife and I have been talking about going to Europe again to explore a little bit more. Maybe Croatia. A little party wants to go to Poland. My grandfather was born in Poland. Okay, so I think we covered everything. I think Alexandra Tesla Boomer Mama agrees that if the board decides to invest in xAI, there would have to be a second shareholder vote. And so my opinion is then we don't need the first vote. I'm sorry. But again, out of respect to Tesla Boomer Mama and many other people in Tesla community who want Tesla to invest in xAI, I did not vote against the proposal. I don't think the proposal has much impact because it simply authorizes the board to think about it, which they can do anyway. But it is, sort of positive sentiment towards the idea. But Tesla's on Mars for sure. Lots to Mars is definitely happening. Poland's eastern borders are just not friendly right now. Yeah, I think Poland is safe, but we'll see. Poland has a much more powerful military. We'll see. I'm not too worried about that. All right. Anyway, thanks everybody so much for watching. Thank you especially to the moderators, Mark and Mark, and thank you especially to Tesla Boomer Mama for joining in the chat. Really appreciate that. I thanks everybody for watching. Please make sure you vote. And again, I was raised as a Democrat. Vote early, vote often. Thanks everybody. Bye-bye.